The mimer is Beyom Semchazchem U'Moyadechem from Tafshin Mem 1980. Rosh Hashanah 1980. Ubiyem Simchazchem B'Yadechem Rosh Chodshechem, the day of your rejoicing, and in your Yom Tovim, and in your Rosh Chodesh. These were all times when they would blow the trumpets in the Beis Hamikdash. Utkatem b'chatzotzros, you shall blow with the trumpets. V'hoyel lachem l'zikaron l'fnei Hashem Elokechem, it shall be for you a remembrance before Hashem your God. Ani Hashem Elokechem, I am Hashem your God. This is one of the psukim used in the psuki shofris that we say in Musaf and Rosh Hashanah, amongst the other 10 psukim of shofris. The Isa Gemara, it's brought down the Gemara, Ma Talmud Loimer, Ani Hashem Elokechem. Why does it conclude over here, Ani Hashem Elokechem? Very often we find also in Rashi, that Rashi will discuss, and the Chazal discuss, why certain places in the Torah, after saying a certain mitzvah that we have to do, they say, Ani Hashem Elokechem. So what's the reason over here, also, when talking about blowing the trumpets in the Beis HaMikdash, and rejoicing days, in Yom Tovim, and Rosh Chodshechem, all of a sudden it says, Ani Hashem Elokechem. So the Gemara derives from this, this teaches us for every place, wherever it says that we have to have an idea of zechroinus, of memory and commemoration, that we should also have the level of, we should also have melech, mentioning Hashem's melucha, mentioning Hashem's kingship, should also be along with this. Where do we see this in the combination of the pasuk? Ani Hashem Elokechem hu malchus. When it says the last 3 words in the pasuk, I am Hashem, your God, that's malchus. Similar to when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that's also one of the psukim of Hashem's melucha. From the fact that we use Ani Hashem Elokechem, the pasuk says that, which refers to Hashem's kingship. We say it right next to what it says, that by blowing the trumpets, it'll be for you as a zikara, and it'll be for you as a memory, as a commemoration. And from this we derive, wherever there's an obligation of zechroinus, so we also have to have the idea of malchus. That's why it says, Ani Hashem Elokechem. From this we derive from this entire pasuk we derive all the 3 types of things that have to be on Rosh Hashanah. Uskatem, the beginning it says, you shall blow. Blow is gomer, that's going on shofris. V'hoyelachem should be as a remembrance. Gomer, that's the chroinus. That's the idea of psukim of the chroinus. Ani Hashem Elokechem malchus, like we said before, when it says Ani Hashem Elokechem, that means Hashem's reign, Hashem's melucha. V'hinei gimel in yonim elu, malchus zechroinus v'shofris. These 3 things, known as malchus zechroinus v'shofris, heim loidak b'dibur, they're not just in the level of speech, which means amir das psukim malchus zechroinus v'shofris, that we have a mitzvah on Rosh Hashanah to say psukim of Hashem's kingship, psukim of Hashem's commemoration and memory, and psukim having to do with shofar. And we see that there is a concept of saying this, as Chazal say, that Hashem asks the Yidden on Rosh Hashanah, Imru lefanai beRosh Hashanah malchus zechroinus v'shofris, say before me on Rosh Hashanah malchus and zechroinus and shofris. But it's more than just the speech, it's more than just reciting and saying it. It's also in action, like the Chazal that we just now quoted about saying Malchus, Zechroinus, and Shofris explains, Malchus, why do we recite Malchus? So that you should make me a king over you. What does Tamlichuni mean? Making you a king, making Hashem a king? So we're not just paying lip service. We're saying that the reason for these psukim is so that we should actually, in action, make Hashem a king over us. Why do we say psukim of zechroinus? So that your memory should go up before me, meaning sheyala zechronechem b'poil. In actuality, there should be the rising up of Hashem, of our memory before Hashem. So again, it's not just words that we're saying, it's indicating an action that's taking place. And through what is all these things being accomplished? Through the shofar, meaning I did kiyas shofar and ma'aser poil, through the actual blowing of the shofar. So we see that all these three things, malchus, achronis, and shofars, is not only something having to do with speech, but it has to do with action. V'hinei brachas, which means brachas, malchus, achronis, v'shofars, ma'ak v'zu azu, that these three sets of brachas that we recite, the set of brachas that the Chazal established, the Anshe Knesset Agdola established later Chazal established in the Musaf Shemoneh Esrei, that we have three additional brachas. Instead of having 7 brachas like every Shabbos and Yom Tov Shemoneh Esrei, where you have the 3 introductory, the 3 ending brachas, and 1 middle one about Yom Tov, on Rosh Hashanah we have 3 additional center brachas. The bracha of having to do with malchus, the bracha having to do with zechronis, the bracha having to do with shofar. So the Chazal say, if you can't say one, you don't say the others. They are all one, are bound up with the other. As opposed to the brachas and the tkiyas shofar are not things that cancel each other out. If a person doesn't have a shofar, he'll recite the brachas and musaf. If a person doesn't have, let's say, a machzor, or he doesn't know the brachas, whatever it is, so he still blows the shofar. These are 2 separate things, as opposed to the brachas themselves are interlinked. It's brought down the Ramor of Rabbi, the same title of our mimer, V'biom Simchtechem. Why is it that the brachas and the kiyas have no impact on each other? You can do one without the other. That brachas and the tkiyas are 2 separate things. Brachas is in dibur, brachas is in speech. The tkiyas is ma'aser, and tkiyas is an action. Because what we're doing actually in the reciting of the brachas is just speech, even though we spoke about it as an action component as well. So the Rebbe asks a question, why does Rosh Hashanah need both ideas? Why do we need to have both the action of the blowing the shofar and the speech of what's being accomplished through the shofar? Why isn't one enough? Especially in the simple meaning of the Chazal, when it says, say psukim malchus, tamchuni aleichem, zechroinus, shetal zechrnechem lefanei l'toiva, and ubameh, and through what is all this accomplished? B'shofar. In the simple meaning of the text, there's a whole discussion what b'meh b'shofar is, but in the simple meaning it means through blowing of the shofar we accomplish what the Talmud Chuni and the Psuki Zechroin is supposed to accomplish. Even though we have to recite Psukim of Malchus, etc., and Psukim of Zechroinus, but what really accomplishes it? What makes Hashem's Melucha happen? What makes Hashem's Zechroin come up? That's through blowing the shofar. So what need is there also for the brachas in speech if we're accomplishing it through shofar? Like it's also understood from what the Chazal say, that the mitzvah of the day of Rosh Hashanah is shofar. Every Yom Tov has its mitzvah of the day. Sukkot is Sukkah and the Daled Minim. Pesach is Matzah and the Isra of Chametz, etc., etc. The mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah is shofar. What does it mean to have a mitzvah of the day? A mitzvah of the day means everything that this day is supposed to accomplish is encapsulated and comes about through that particular mitzvah. So the fact that Rosh Hashanah, the mitzvah of the day, is shofar, that means that how do we accomplish what Rosh Hashanah is about? Through shofar. So again, what's the need for all the brachas and the psukim and so on? And also, we can see this from the Rambam. Moving Rambam, this is also understood from what the Rambam wrote. Though blowing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah is a decree, because the Torah doesn't say why one has to blow shofar. Remez Yeshba, it has a hint. Kloimar means to say uru, awaken. It's explained in Amar Mavarabeh top of the next page, in the whole lengthy expression of the Rambam, etc. I think we might have mentioned this in the previous mimer. All the three things of Malchus, Achronis, and Shofros are hinted in the idea of waking up, and those that are asleep, and those that are in a deeper sleep, and so on. So from this is understood that everything that Malchus, Achronis, and Shofros have to do, so Tkiyas Shofar already accomplishes it. And the general hint in Shofar, awaken, that's the idea of tshuva, like explained over there in the Rambam, Hainu da mitzvah, that Tkiyas Shofar sheyeches l'klos in the Rosh Hashanah mitzvayim b'Shofar. The mitzvah, blowing the shofar, is connected with the general idea of Rosh Hashanah. As we said, the mitzvah of the day is in Shofar. Why is the mitzvah of Tkiyas Shofar connected with that? Since Rosh Hashanah, everything goes back to the way it was initially. All the chayes of the world returns back to its source. We have to draw down a new drawing down of life force and vitality from Hashem's very essence, and we have to make sure it comes all the way down. We have to draw us down the entire chain order of descent until this world of action. How is this accomplished? Through the shofar. Ki shofar raimes linat tshuva kanal. Shofar hints at the idea of tshuva, like we said before. Sheikar tshuva hu is achtas ha'makir. What does tshuva mean? Returning. It's not about regret. It's not about sadness. Returning, meaning going back to the source. Kadmusam, in the way it was initially. In the return, there's a way that goes from below to above, and then there's a return that Hashem returns to us and draws down again, the Hamshacha for the new year. Like it says, a spiritual return to Hashem that gave it. Like it's explained in the Torah at the beginning of this parsha, therefore, since tshuva is about our return to our source, therefore, through this we draw down a new Hamshacha from Hashem's very essence. And how do we ensure that that's what the tshuva aspect of shofar does? The tshuva aspect of shofar reaches all the way up to the source, to go back, to draw down the Hamshacha that has to come all the way from the source. How do we make sure that that Hamshacha from the source reaches all the way down to Olam HaAsiyah? By the Asiyah Tkiyas Shofar b'Maisa, through action, blowing the shofar in action. Mamshichim zeh ad ba'asiyah, because shofar is an action. So therefore, by doing a physical action in the physical world, not just reciting words, not just having tshuva, which is something that's in the heart, so we draw it down all the way into the world of action, because that's the whole purpose of Rosh Hashanah, to draw down the Hamshacha from its source down into the world of action.